Hello Sagittarius, welcome back to my channel, The Vibes Inside. I am Mariana and I have prepared here to do your reading, Sagittarius. Well, I feel like I get a feeling of being a bit torn. I'm doing a round of readings right now that has to do with love-hate relationships. So this can be someone you're dealing with and you know that there's, something about them you love and something about them you hate at the same time. One of their best features can also be one of the features that challenges you the most, perhaps, It can be something internal, like you have this about yourself and actually you like this very much, but it's also a big problem sometimes. Then you get in trouble with it, right? And I have this feeling of like being a bit torn, like right now. There's something about logic and reason and maybe plan and order or something. And then what is this other? It's something like the right thing to do. The right thing to do, or this is not right. Like there can be, how can I say this? Like if you, there are certain requirements in your life. Like let's say, you have work, you have duties, you have responsibilities. They are kind of given in some sense. And then there is this that this is not right somehow, that or the logic and reason about doing certain things are absolutely there, You could say the argumentation is there. Now I get like an image to a courtroom, right? That it's like there's proof that all of these things is the right thing to do, but then there's but then there is maybe, like a moral obligation, or there is a so maybe you feel like you on one side you are right to judge something. On one side you are right to judge. You're right to say no. You're right to stand your ground. You're right to, but then on the other hand, it is your child, right? We're talking about, or this person is disabled, or this is a mentally ill person. So there could be this feeling of being obligated to do something that you definitely, or to care for something, or be somehow involved in something that you could discharge, like you could say no to it. You could, but that it's like it would be too harsh. So I feel something about this love-hate thing can be someone where you have this thing going on, like that it is right for me to be angry. It's right for me to hold a grudge. It's right for me to be Um, you know, but then on the other hand, they can't help it, right? They are disabled. Maybe they're mentally ill. Maybe they have brain damage. They act like a child. They can't help it, you know. But yes, I could judge it. Yes, I could walk away. Yes, there is a lot of argumentation that says this is not, you know, on one hand you have Darwin, survival of the fittest, and on the other hand you have moral obligation or moral, social, traditional family obligation. You know, something like that. It's something like that. It can even be, you know, internally, like that. Let's say you have let's say you have a physical illness in some way. Maybe it's not, you know, something that can be seen. Let's say you have something like diabetes. As long as the treatment is done for diabetes, you can have a fairly normal life. So you see, on one hand, because I care for my treatment, and I take care of all the I take the necessary precautions, then I can be regarded as any other normal person. Others may not even know this about me. They cannot see it. Like if I walk down the street, people can't necessarily see that I have diabetes, right? And it means that if I get a job, people will put up all the normal requirements for a job for me. Though I sometimes struggle with some of the ups and downs with diabetes. For instance, low blood sugar can make you quite miserable. You can have nausea and dizziness and becoming very tired, and you have to maintain this, you could say. So now I get something like, if you are the only one who is taking care of this, so you both have to work a normal 9-to-5 job with all the normal requirements that a healthy person has, and then you at the same time are also utterly and fully responsible for managing your illness or this other thing here. That this is somehow not right? That on one hand you're supposed to work like everyone else and do all the same stuff as everyone else. At the same time, you have these highs and lows of your blood sugar. You have to feel into this and be responsible and check it. And you know, you it's like you have two jobs, right? You have the normal job, and then you have something else that needs to be checked and maintained and kept vital or kept up in some way. And this is not something that a normal, healthy person would have to deal with. Like they would take their job here and they would put their effort into this and only do that. They wouldn't also at the same time needing to check back home or call to check or, you know, have you taken your meds? Have you done your something? I recently saw a film where this young man, he was struggling because he had his father was suffering from post-traumatic stress, and he was actually suicidal. Like he had or a manodepressive state, so he could have weeks and so where he was functioning very well, and then he suddenly had this fall down where suddenly he was very miserable. He had to be monitored all the time. He was suicidal and so on. And this young man, like, he tried to have his normal life, his work life, his a girlfriend, maintaining his friends, having attending parties, but he couldn't really be present because he was constantly worried that something would happen with his father. So it's like you have one life you're present in, but actually all your worries, all your heart, all your attentiveness actually is somewhere else, or concerned about something else. Does that make sense? It's like that's what I feel like I have here, like a double bind, or like a double tie, or you have maybe you could be you have moved out from home, but you know that your parents are struggling, or you have a single parent and they are maybe alcoholic, and you have to like check in on them. You have to make sure they have taken their medication. You have to make sure that there's food in the fridge and so on, something like that. And there's this, it's like there is this, I hear death weight. It's like there is something that you drag along with you, right? But it seems like it can't really sustain itself. Like if this should be left alone, it would probably die, or it would probably be, I don't know, miserable. Maybe, this is a person that they can't even take a bath themselves, or they are highly depressed, or they drink way too much, or do way too much drugs, or something, something like that. So it's like carrying someone, like you carry them, right, with you. They are always somehow carried with you, and you use your energy on maintaining well the life that you have with all the ordinary stuff in it, and then something else here that is something you need to kind of maybe not all the time, but from time to time, you have to put in effort to make it alive again. It's like a flower or like you're the one that water it. Nothing else seems to water it. It doesn't know how to get water itself, or it's not taking any action. It's not. So there's this, like, yeah, I love them, but at the same time I drag the time spent with worrying, or because I can actually not be very present in my current life. It's like something over here works on not 4 but 2 cylinders. And you have to be an extra cylinder to just let they just get by, or that they seem to manage. I feel like manage. It's like you are managing someone else's or feeling an obligation, or somehow being, and if you're not doing it, because again, as I said, you could easily just say no, right? You could just say no, this is your own problem, and then you could look the other way and walk away. But then I feel like, you know, your conscience, there's this moral obligation or something that somehow is supposed to go back and help here. You know, you could have a very adult life here, marriage, children, work, everything, and you know, that is like a never-ending story. It keeps, and then there's suddenly this, you know, like if your parents get very sick and they need home care, or they need to, there are certain things that are changing so that they can no longer, you know, they are maybe not able to take care of themselves anymore. Maybe they get hospitalized, maybe they need surgery, and you know, you feel like you have to go back and stay several days to help them when they get out of hospital and they get home. So maybe you are this caretaker or something in a period of time, and it seems like it's the right thing to do, but at the same time you may hate this about yourself, that you feel so obligated, right? Because actually what you already have is enough, right? It's already enough. That's what I feel like for a normal person. Working 9 to 5 is enough. If they at the same time had to manage a non-seen illness like diabetes, for instance, it would be even more heavy. But it seems like society doesn't care, right? As long as you can live up to the standards, they don't care how much attention or how much energy you are actually also using on this other thing, right? As long as you can maintain the status quo here, we don't care about what else this is. But you have divided energy, you have divided attention, you know, something like it's that kind of thing I feel here. So instead of having divided attention, I think you would prefer only to have attention one place, primarily. Let's say your own life, your own marriage, your work, your children, that you would like to have your focus only on that. But there is this feeling of a sick parent, a sibling, a child, or something that you somehow have to almost carry along, I feel like. Yeah, I still hear death weight, like this rucksack that is, totally soaked with water and heavy, right? And it's like you're dragging it with you somehow. And because you have divided attention and you go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, it's like it takes your energy away, and you're worried, right? This other thing here, there's a worry about this. How can it maintain itself? Can it survive? Is it, what is that called, viable? Is it able to survive? Can it survive on its own? If I was not here to maintain this, what would happen then? And then you are wondering if I should withdraw and concentrate on my own stuff entirely, what would happen here? Like, will they end up on the street? Will they be homeless? Will they survive? Will they ever be able to, like, you know, it's that feeling. Okay, so I have in the middle here, I have wind. This came up also in the Scorpio reading. In the Scorpio reading, it talked about a process where Scorpio was taming the wind. Wind can be your mind. Again, I had this feeling of like being torn. In the Scorpio reading, this came out as a confusion, or like the feeling that something is like you don't see clearly, or you can't see clearly. Actually, I feel more like today for you it comes across as you're not seeing clearly, or you can't. It's like there's something that because you have this, it's like you drag something with you somehow, that you are somehow morally or socially or something obliged or to care for, right? That you're supposed to care for it somehow, or provide it with something, help it or something. Or even, as I said, make it survive. If it can't care, mentally ill or very depressed people that are actually almost in a process of being suicidal, or like there is no will, it seems like, to live. Like they show no will. They show no activity that tells you that they actually want to live. They actually want to get better. They actually want to stand on their own 2 feet. They actually want to and can be like dependable, like that they can it feels like you are carrying the responsibility for something that seems like it's not showing any progress, it's not showing any growth, it's not showing any maturity. It feels stagnant in its way somehow. Let's say you have like a disabled child. The disabled child is, well, you can't blame a disabled child. Let's say it's mentally retarded or something. You can't blame it, right? Like it has an evolutionary state. It can't be blamed, actually. It just is like this. And you know it, right? You know that it's not the child's fault, right? It's not the child's fault. It's just, but that in itself doesn't help you, right? It doesn't help you that it's not its fault. It still is not moving differently. It still is the same. It still stays unable to take care of itself. So it's still on you somehow. You feel, if you are the mother or the father here, you feel an obligation, you feel responsibility for the well-being of something here. because you know that, yeah, you may have your own life, you may have your own thoughts, you may have your own ideas, you may have your own agenda, you may have your own, again, work and everything, career, whatever it is. But it's like, if you stay over here, it's like, what would happen here then? It feels a little bit like you're the only one who can come in here and make this feel better, or care for it for a while. And maybe it can function a little bit again, and then you, at some point, you come back and it's like it's like you are some kind of like a vitalizer, that you come in with something and it helps for a minute, and then you can do your stuff and it can go along for a while, but then the batteries die again, and you have to come in and care for it, and then you walk away again. It's like you're watering it, and you're watering it often, I feel like. And it's in your mind. Like you have to remember to water it. Like you have to come back to the house or the garden and water it. Because it will not sustain itself on its own. So it's in, like, this is now a part of your normal life here. You have to check it, right? As you can check your blood sugar. You have to remember, you cannot be totally only focused over here. You have to go back and check it. And then and go back, and then and go back, and then and go back, and then, you know. So it's like you have two houses or two people you have to maintain something about, or two responsibilities to, I don't know, you have a family here, you have a disabled child in a care facility or something, I don't know, something like that, right? And that is confusing. And what it also does is that it dims you. Like if you look at this person, it's like, yeah, we see them, but they are not clear. Like it's like there is this storm in front of them. And you can see them, but they are not. Yeah, I get confusion or torn between, you know, what is obligation or responsibility, or what is just morally right, or what is just humanly right, maybe even. Like what is humanly right? You know, a judge can, in a courtroom, a judge can rule only by the written law and the proof that is presented. But then you can have these cases where this person is mentally ill. So is it correct to judge them only by that? Or should there be a human aspect here that is telling us that maybe we need another decision for this particular person? Like it's not enough to just put them in jail. They need treatment, right? They need care. They need facility. They need medicine, maybe, to get better. It's not enough just to lock them up somewhere. It won't help, right? That if someone has a frizzy mind here, or is confused or torn, or... But I feel you are the one that is torn. Like you know that there is physical evidence, you know you have proof, you know you have seen like repetitive patterns. You could, let's say someone over here has been rigid. Like they may have been cursing at you, they may have been, you know, calling you names, they may have thrown things towards you. And you have received all of this, like you became the receiver of the angry attack, the verbal abuse, all the negative things here. And you could easily turn around and walk out the door and never come back. But at the same time, you know this person is manodepressive, or they are bipolar, or they are, you know, they are in the midst of a depression, or they have a brain damage, they're mentally retarded, right? And then there's this, because I know this, or because I know they have autism, or they have a different way of reacting. And they do this out of powerlessness, for instance, or they're not, like, it's not their, you could say, normal state. But from time to time, they end up here. This changes perhaps your perspective. So you see, this can be the love-hate thing I talk about. That you, on one hand, yeah, you have every right to just walk away. Like on paper, according to the law and everything, you have every right to just dismiss it and walk away. On the other hand, this is your, I don't know, mother we talk about. On the other hand, this is, what if this was me, you could say? What if I was this one? Wouldn't I want that someone cared for me, or got me the best treatment, or what if this was me? So, wouldn't I want them to have the best life they could? Wouldn't I want them to? So you see, you have a moral compass here that is sometimes maybe richer than, or more than some other people would have. They would maybe just walk away, right? But in this, it seems like you feel a responsibility, a sense of, yeah, moral responsibility, or human, that this is a human responsibility, a human compassion. And this you could have a love-hate relationship with, because on one hand it defines you, it is who you are. On the other hand, it gives you a lot of work. It puts you in certain situations where you are yelled at, things are being thrown at you, you are standing in hostile environments maybe, because of it. But at the same time, it's like you can't just walk away. That doesn't seem right to you either. So, but what it does is that this can also talk about that this is a person you're watching. Like you're watching someone who looks like that. Like they're there but not there. Like they're there for a moment and then they are not. Then they can't remember, right? Someone who has dementia, for instance. So they remember you maybe, a few minutes, and then they don't know who you are. So, but then again, you could sit there and think about it. But this, if this was me, like how would that be? Like how would that life be? You never know. It's like you always have forgotten. Like most days is about what you can't remember. You can't even remember who you are, really. You only remember like bit by bit. You don't remember if it's Tuesday or Saturday. You don't remember what happened yesterday. You barely remember the people that were actually your family or in your life and so on. And then you can think, but if this was me, wouldn't I like just from time to time that there was a familiar face? Wouldn't I or maybe a familiar face. This is my parent, or this is my brother, or this is my sister, or this is my child. Wouldn't I, if I was her or him, wouldn't I want that someone cared? Wouldn't I want that, like, if I leave here, they are all alone. They are all alone. And being, conflicted with this, that you feel this compassion. And I see Sagittarius as you could be the philosopher, right? You think differently, you have other thoughts. You have thoughts that are more, they could be philosophical. They have a moral stamp that is, or a human moral stamp, we could say in this case, that feels like it's more maybe, or broader. And it's definitely a very beautiful thing, but it can also leave you being the one that always cares, where nobody else does, right? Where others, they may have walked away, you are the one that come and help, or you are the one that can stand to see this, that something is left, like that. So I have the wind, as I said, this feeling of, again, this can be a situation where someone here has hurt you, like they have hurt your feelings. They have been such a, well, in some eyes it would be a burden, right? They like having conversation or being around them here could be like really dreadful and heavy, and it seemed like a big burden. Like you may have heard it all, you may have seen it all, like they have screamed and yelled and thrown things, they may have attacked you, they've tried to strangle you, they have tried everything. But that it's because they are mentally ill, or it's because they have this, and because you don't, like, you care for them. You care for something that is underneath the exterior, right? Underneath the brutal outburst and underneath the aggression, maybe. You care for something that is under that. Because you do that, you can end up in dangerous situations. But walking away also seems too brutal, like that is also not helpful, right? But you could still be torn here. In your wind is air energy, so this is about your mind, your thoughts. I do feel a sense of torn, like being torn what to do. Feeling definitely a moral obligation or a human obligation to somehow help, I feel like. But at the same time, it's a dread for you, and it takes some of your energy, right? It requires energy of you. So when you care for someone else, maybe also sometimes caring more about them than your life, then this can become almost like a kryptonite, right? It drains your energy out of you. So then at the bottom here I have what is called shamanic journey, purpose, attunement, and vision quest. And it's in your ground or in your root position here, where this is more crown, roots and crown. And then in between you are torn here. Here it actually seems quite clear. Right? Here it seems quite clear. Your root position, it seems quite clear what is supposed to do. We see here that she is riding this horse, so she is with someone here. And this can be a great cooperation between two species, so a human and a horse here. Purpose, attunement, vision, quest, shamanic journey, a feeling of I feel like, again, this obligation, like I should. On one hand, I have my logic, my reason, my everything, and then on the other hand, it's like there is something else I should look at. There's something else I must. Again, you could have logic, reason, you have your education, you have your job, you have the normal human life, you listen to the news, you have your hobbies, you have, other maybe things that you have aligned your life with. But then there's this purpose thing, right? This life purpose thing. That is also something you feel like you should maybe, or there is this moral compass or this moral purpose thing that you also feel like you should attend to. Or there is something deeper in you that you want to look at. But then there's this ordinary life that is requiring things of you. There's laundry here and, grocery shopping and work and taking care of the kids. And there's the fitness and the gym. There's the Saturday dinners with your friends and so on. And then there's this other thing here. As I feel like, it's like you drag it along, but you haven't. And I do feel like it has to do with some kind of responsibility. You feel like you're responsible for something. You ought to and should somehow do this or figure this out or help or something. But then there's all this other stuff that also requires your attention. Or maybe over here, this is about what you like to do. Like this is what you prefer to do, what you favor. And then this is the drag. Like this is cleaning and homework and, all the stuff that we feel like takes our energy away. But it comes across more like it can't sustain itself, like it has to get some kind of vitamin shot, like you have to regularly, I feel like, come in and attend to it, right? Otherwise it's static or indynamic. I wouldn't say dead, but it's passive. Very passive. And I don't feel like it feels like it's I get death weight drag. And again, I feel like this is something that has to do, I've talked about this a lot on my channel, this idea that you have to face what it is you stand in front of. Because for a dynamic fire sign that takes action and likes a certain amount of activity around you, having someone like this in your life would probably feel like a drag because it's not like you. This could feel like, let's say this is your spouse, and they are not into active life. They are not very adventurous. Sagittarius is also seen as or known as being an adventurer. They like to explore things. This, though, seems more like a homebody then. And you see, if this is your opposite, if we talk about your spouse or a child or something here, it's like you stand in front of something that doesn't have the same value as you. For you, it may feel like it's this extra obligation, or I have to motivate someone here, to motivate someone to join the fitness club, or to motivate someone to go to the concert, or go to the, do something with you here, requires a lot of energy and persuasion maybe, or motivation, and like you have to dance in front of them to make them maybe even just for a moment consider to join you. And that may feel like a drag, that you have to put in vitamin shots regularly here for them to come along, right? And it's because you stand in front of something that is not like you. It's not like you. It's death weight, or it's even, passive, or almost not here, right? So you're dragging something along, right? But it's not helping you. It's not helping. It would be, we know that when women have to give birth to children, the child inside the womb is helping the process. It's active when it gets born. But if the child dies in there and the woman has to give birth to a dead child, the birth is way heavier. It's so much more difficult when something is not working with you. You have to drag it. It's inactive or dead or not there or not participating. We know that if you have to carry a person that is what we call death weight, like they are unconscious, there is no muscle activated, they feel extremely heavy. Just the idea that they are awake and they can sling their arm around your shoulder when you are carrying them, it makes it all easier. But if this is something that doesn't cooperate with you at all, that it's totally non-cooperative here, then it becomes a very heavy responsibility, a very heavy duty to carry, right? And it's that feeling that I have here. You stand in front of something that is definitely not like you. It's definitely putting a lot of heaviness on you. And it's like, is it worth it? And then at the same time, it feels like there is this moral obligation or something to somehow, or human obligation to carry it with you somehow. So here I have, first of all, two. I have two here. And then there's a moon in the background. It's actually a very beautiful picture. A white horse, a woman in white dress, and then this white moon in the background. It actually feels quite kind and loving. And again, I have this feeling that maybe once these two were inseparable. Once this was very beautiful. Once And maybe that's also the obligation, right? That you know that underneath this illness or underneath this depression, I know this person, right? I know that they are not like this. Like this is just the illness talking, or this is the, what is that called? This is an addiction talking. Because underneath it all, I know that that it's a beautiful person. But underneath it, like they may have this way, like an addict, like they have, we know that it's the addict, it's the addiction talking. If they are aggressive, for instance, right? We know that it's the alcohol talking if they get violent, if they have been drinking. But then when they sober up, they apologize and they're sorry and all this. But this can be this vicious cycle somehow. But I get this feeling, it's like there has been something where you were very attuned, I think. Where you saw very much eye to eye. And it almost feels like you had purpose together, or there was a quest that you both were interested in. It's in the root position, so this can talk about, again, roots, like maybe this is family, like they are your family. You come vision quest, again, this can be about adventure, right? There could be this feeling that once we were best friends, right? Once we were, like, we loved to explore together. We were very attuned. It felt so purposeful to just go out there and do everything together. We loved this, like we loved the exploration. And then something happened here. We also see how the bird looks the other way. Like they are no longer attuned with each other here. The wind, the mind. Again, they could have changed their mind. Maybe they went somewhere else. Maybe they wanted other kinds of adventures. Maybe they didn't do it with you anymore, right? They looked the other way. They didn't stay with you. And again, it could have confused you, right? And it could have confused your, maybe your obligation to somehow be there and not be there, or to stay in the background, but then maybe you are only chosen from time to time, maybe, or as I said, they have had an illness, maybe they got into hospital, maybe they are in a rehab facility, maybe they, and you just feel that there's this obligation, but still feeling very torn with it. Because your moral obligation definitely tells you to go there. At the same time, your own health, perhaps, your own peace and your own health is telling you to stay away, right? So you have, at one point you have, but this is a person I somehow feel like we have to be together here, right? Or I know them. It's the right thing to do. And then at the same time, if you should pursue your own dreams here, she's alone here. And the star card tells us something about following your own purpose, your own purpose, your own dreams. again, maybe, I don't know, your own adventure. Like this could be an adventure you want to go on. You have set a goal. And once this one would definitely go with you, right? But now it feels like, no, they don't want to. Like, so you have to figure out if you want to go yourself. And if you do that, again, your own journey here, if you do that, what happens to them in the meantime then? Right? What happens to them in the meantime? The moon here also, so for me, suggests that there could be some kind of sadness here, or grief, maybe even. There's something that is hindering your, where you saw very much eye to eye here and was so invested with each other here. I feel like it's not there anymore. Like it's not there. It's not the same. But still, I feel that one of you is obligated. Like one of you still feels that they have to, that they can't leave. Like they can't leave and start something new, for instance, or like go their own path, or yeah, it feels like they drag along, and this can be like a, I don't know, well, it could be a grief, you know, and like there's this moral high ground of, well, let's say you've lost someone, and moving on, pursuing your own dreams here in life is very fussy for you, because I feel like it's like you together knew where you were going. But when you are alone here, it's like you don't see it, or it's like the compass is not there. Like the compass here is not there, or maybe it's there. But then there's still this feeling almost like you are betraying. I think this sometimes happens when people have been in maybe long-term relationships and one of them dies, and then the other now stands here and, well, you can go on dating apps and everything is like, nobody would say anything to this. Like your other partner is maybe out of the picture, they're not even there anymore. Maybe they have died, maybe they've moved, you have gotten divorced, you know. But then there's this, and everything here over here says that there is all evidence, all good explanations for you to pursue this new dating adventure or everything. But you feel like you should, that you can't, right? It's like there is this, I can't just, and as long as you are nurturing, or you would say dragging along a dead relationship, let's say that you are dragging along a dead relationship here with something or someone. As long as you drag that along, you are maybe grieving, you know. And as long as you are grieving, it is a time where you can't move on. As long as you grieve, I cannot pursue this new thing. So the grieving becomes this place, but also excuse to not move on here. It makes your mind unclear, on what to do. And I said being torn, right? Being torn about is that it just doesn't feel right. I clearly have that. It doesn't feel right to move on. It doesn't feel right to again, you could have in a marriage, you could, you could have children. You could even have children that are maybe 15, 20 years old, and your wife or husband dies. And then it's like pursuing this new dating thing or a new partner. Like, there's nothing morally wrong with that. Only what's going on in your own heart and mind space, right? It's only that can be a roadblock with going somewhere else here. It's only your own moral compass, only your own grief perhaps. Because it would be something like, yeah, but this is the mother of my children, right? This is the mother of my children or the father of my children. I can't just, what would they say? Or I'm not comfortable with having a new partner in the home when my children are around, for instance, because it just doesn't feel right. Or if you are, and I feel like being very highly attached here with someone, and if they are no longer invested in you, or if they are dead, or they are not there, it's like you are nurturing something here that is not giving you anything back. It feels like this wet rucksack that you are dragging along here with you, and it needs this vitalized shot. This could be someone who keeps watching old movies of when they were alive, and they sit in this from time to time. You go back here and they sit in this feeling how it was, watching the wedding album with all the pictures, watching the travels you had to, I don't know, far away places, watching when the children were small, So this would be the memories of someone here. The memories of someone you loved very dearly, but now it's very fuzzy, or it's unclear. You are not having again being torn between whether you should still do this, or you should like utterly say goodbye here and close this deal off, and then pursue your own dreams, some dreams here, knowing that it's like there's this chapter here of something that just doesn't want to be closed, or it's unfinished in some way, or incomplete, and you may be worried if how can it sustain itself if I'm not putting in a vitamin shot from time to time? But you see, it's like keeping someone alive or something. It's like not accepting its state, that we're not accepting the state it's in. We want it to be something else. From being passive, we want it to be active. We're not accepting the state it's in. For some reason, so if this is someone who died, it's like not accepting they're dead. Watching the videos and the pictures and whatever, it's like for a moment it's like they are there with you. For a moment it's like they are with you. But then the film ends, or there are no more photos. So for a moment it's like they come alive again. For a moment they are active. For a moment they come along with you for the bowling or the concert. For a moment they are what you are looking for. They are like you, perhaps. For a moment they are active. For a moment they are reliable, maybe. For a moment they care for themselves. For a moment they, whatever this is here. But it definitely is something like a split mind here, like being torn between. Maybe you do know that you should go towards your something new here. Something that is right for you, something that is your star, your but you see she is alone here. So this is doing something on her own. This is Aquarius energy. It just feels like if they could somehow have been here with you, pursuing this dream, would have been so much better. Let's have a look at the drivers for this reading. So the confused mind here, or this incomplete, or again the fuzziness here, or the dimmed version, could be this feeling that it's like you are only having memories of this person, or you again watching the old album, or the memories you had when you were fit together here. That this is not something you can, it's no longer there. Now you have this, again, someone with dementia, for instance. Like they are momentarily there, or it's like you look at them and they are right in front of you, but they are not the one you remember. You can have the same conversation with them. That's why they are dimmed here. They seem half, or they seem like they are shell in some way, but the one you were relating to, the one who was here present with you is not there in the same way. And I get the feeling of being torn. So the driver cards tell us something about what has happened before you have ended up here, before you have come to this conclusion, or before you are now experiencing maybe this feeling of being torn. So the person here that you, or entity or being or something here, that you somehow have this very special bond with. It's like I get here psychic ability, future vision, and precognition. This is interesting because, well, if you have in the past experienced a precognition of something, it tells me that you have roots where this is definitely present, that this has definitely been there in your life somehow. But because it tells here future vision, it's like, and precognition, it's almost like you have a memory of something that is supposed to be in the future. Precognition here. It's like you're remembering or you have a psychic ability about something in the future being a memory. Meaning that it should have happened in the past. But that is linear time thinking, right? That you have at a current moment an idea of something that happens in the future, meaning you are here and future is here, right? Future is here and this is current moment, present. So you stand here in the present, you have a precognition of something that happens in the future. This happens in the future. But it feels like a memory because it's in the root position. So it feels like you've already had, like it's already in your memory. Of course, that's confusing, right? So, because that is not normally how we think. Normally we think that something that happens that is in the future is not currently here. What is currently here is something that is right now or something that happened in the past that we can remember, right? So this to me tells me it almost feels like a time shift or like something that but you don't know it perhaps. Maybe you have no idea that this was actually a future vision. That you have a future vision with someone. That this is someone that you're meeting in the future. But for you it comes across as a memory from the past. Does that make sense? Like I know this sounds confusing. In the quantum field, there is another understanding of time, that it's not linear like that. Past, present, future, it's not like that. That it's all one big circle. And you can have like past, present, and future happening at exactly the same moment. That is actually what this feels like. It's like having the idea that something future is your past and you're remembering at it in the present. That's what it feels like. So you could be torn about what to do with this memory here. Especially if you are alone here and the one that you have in mind is looking the other way. Again, if we have past, present, and future at the same time, you could have a present where they are looking away from you, but in the past you were together, or in the future you will be together. In the future you will be together. Right now they are looking away from you. But you remember it as a past memory. Like it's already happened. Like this is crazy making, right? Because you can stand in front of a person and if you have this, it's like you know that we are supposed to be on a vision quest together. We are supposed to do something together. I know this, right? I know that. But they are looking the other way here, not investing in you. So it's like you have the past, you have present and future all at once. That feels like crazy making in the normal human understanding, right? Either we have passed together and we remember each other because of the past experiences. But you being someone from the future whom I've not, like it's like in the current position, in the current now, it's like you don't see eye to eye here. It's like you're not invested in each other. But for some reason, because of this, you know that you are. You know you're supposed to go on some kind of vision quest together, right? But it feels like a memory from the past. That you have been this together before. In the current moment, they are not looking at you. But it's like you know, right? You just know deep down here, you know that we have purpose together. We are so attuned with each other. But in the current moment, this is very confusing because they look the other way. In order for you to understand this, you may have visited the sweat lodge here. The sweat lodge would be going into your traumas. It would be like opening a door here to something, going in and sitting in the darkness of the sweat lodge and the heat of the sweat lodge to figure out what is this. It could be the feeling that you have been through like a purgatory, like you have been facing some kind of demons in here, or facing something in here. And that is also why you're confused. It's like this is supposed to be maybe like a soulmate, right? But I feel like if I visit them, if I go into this house, it feels like a sweat lodge. It's like I'm an enemy here. It feels like we are not at all aligned. But I have this strong feeling that we are supposed to be together here. So why do I feel like that? Now we may also understand this moral obligation. It's like I'm supposed to drag this along until it sees me, until it sees me. Right? Because here the bird is looking the other way. It is like I'm dragging something along because I know that eventually we are in the future we are supposed to be together, doing something together. But for now I'm just dragging it along. I'm dragging the potential of something along. And that's why I feel morally obligated to be invested, but at the same time, right? The Knight of Cups here in the driver's position, underlying energy is someone pursuing love here. They are pursuing love. So it means that they are on a love quest. They are invested with their heart and soul and everything to, fight for something. The knight is usually very, like they're committed to a cause. They are committed to a journey maybe. They are committed to a particular, usually the knight is honoring a certain king, right? They honor a certain code of that kingdom, of that king, of the one that they the one they are serving, the one they are fighting for, or the one they are trying to protect here. So again, you could be like with your heart very, again here the knight is on a horse, right? But it seems like they are, they are covered up, they have an armor on. They can't show up as raw and free as this. It's like they have to, like the dance they have with each other here is not the same as here. Like we see someone on a horse here. And maybe there is love between them, but it's not as raw and open as this. Like the rider has an armor on, the horse also has some kind of clothing here. So it doesn't feel so it looks like a bit of a show, like they work together, but it's not an authentic kind. Again, like the rider has to armor up here. The horse is covered. It feels a little bit, as I said, like you are with this one, but it just doesn't feel like it's like dealing with each other here. I feel like and from the heart perspective, is a struggle. Like it's not the same as here. Again, the sweat lodge, it's like she's going towards the sweat lodge. It's like she's going towards this horse here. But then actually dealing with the horse, and from a perspective of the heart here, is very difficult. And both of them actually have to cover up and not be real, authentic. And from that position here, where we could even talk about this is not unconditional love, this is more unconditional love. That this feels more covered up, we wear masks, we protect ourselves, we work together. We are in a marriage, for instance, but it's not the same here. It's not what she saw in her vision. It's not like that. And from this perspective, now moving into the star here, it's like something about, again, she took her clothes off here again. This is a more, like searching for something more with more integrity, more authenticity. Something that is, even though it is in the future, because Aquarius is usually futuristic. Here she is on her own, so it seems like maybe engaging with something, but it feels like both were not authentic here. Using, like, splitting apart, and then just knowing that I am trying to get my integrity back, my authenticity back here, my honesty or transparency back. And I am prepared to do this and know that what I saw here as a precognition, to have this togetherness with someone, that it might be in the future. But I'd rather stick to that than being in some kind of dynamic with them where both of us need to armor up to be together. Like, to make this work, both of us have to armor up and be like, it's a struggle here. When our hearts are involved, it's a struggle. We can't really be, we try to, like we tried, we've given this a try. I approached them, right? Knowing that this would be or maybe not knowing, but it ended up becoming a sweat lodge. It was so confusing here to be with them, because they never seemed to choose me. We never seemed eye to eye. It was so confusing here. And we tried it, but it didn't quite work out. Both of us had armor on. Both of us were not authentic. So now I'm choosing to become more authentic, and I have this in my mind's eye. We can even see this like an eye here, that this has to do with the precognition, right? The third eye. Aquarius energy is known to be more futuristic. It's known to have a focus on something out there, or in a linear time perspective, something that is not here yet. That it's and becoming more and more authentic, and having a perspective that says that when the time is right, like it will be this. And I want to say again, but it's not again, it comes across as an again. It's a future thing that becomes your present, but you remember it as a past memory. So this is not from the past. This is actually from the future. And that's why you have this problem with disengaging from them. Because in the present moment and in the past, you had nothing together. In the future, you do. In the future, you do. In the future, you have this. That's the precognition you've had about them. The precognition has to do with the future vision. But for you, it comes across as you've already had it together. And that's why you can't leave this person alone. It's like a potential that you're dragging with you. That at some point, it's going to be this for us. We will not have masks on. We will be able to fully see each other. And we will go on this quest together. Because we are totally attuned. We have purpose together. And that's why you can't seem to not to say goodbye to it. It's a crazy making feeling. It's like you know something that they don't know. And yes, if you have precognition here, yeah, you do. You do have like the precognition here that you have, maybe you're not aware of it. If you had this in the past about something or someone, it may feel like a memory, right? That you remember this person. You remember them very strongly. It could feel like a soulmate here, right? So it must be someone you knew, right? You must have have history with them. Like they must be in your Akashic records. You must have something. You have experienced something with them before. That's the linear human thinking. But actually, no, it's in the future. And this is crazy making. Like this is so, if you don't see it for what it is. Because they don't get it. Like you can argue with them. You can try to persuade them. Again, you can motivate them. You can keep putting in, vitamin injections here. And they're not moving. They stay. They are inactive. They don't take action. They're not approaching. They don't seem to want to make something work with you. Because it's in the future, and they haven't arrived in that future yet, or they haven't gotten to that future yet. Like that puzzle piece has not landed with them yet, so they're not doing anything. They don't see you yet. Like they don't see you. You see them. You have always seen them here. But they don't see you, right? They don't see you yet. They don't see you yet. So it's like you're dragging along some kind of potential. A potential for something. Or a hope, or a dream, or something. Because this may have been quite strong for you, right? This may have been quite strong, that you knew, that you just know. So you have to drag them along, or you have to carry this weight of something along with you, because eventually they're going to wake up and see you, and you will have this together, right? But we don't know when, right? Future is it's not designed to be set when. But that could be the that is this crazy making feeling. How come that I'm the only one that sees this? Why are they not? Why do they look the other way here? Like we have purpose together. We have things to do. Like we are totally attuned with each other. We are perfect together here. Why don't they see that? I approached them here. It became a sweat lodge. It was a big problem. They may have, as I said, they may have been angry. They may have been throwing things at you. It could have been the biggest mess here. And you walked towards them here because it felt right. You had this knowledge here. You had the knowledge. You went towards them. You went towards it here. They saw the other way. They didn't want to participate. It confused you. It got you trapped. It got you confused. It got you feeling crazy. You may even have gotten married to this person, but it became like this. It became this. You had to protect yourself as the rider here with an armor. You were not in sync with each other. You tried, I think. But it was not the same as here. You tried. I don't think it worked out. Now you're in a process of de-armoring. You take the armor off and you are waiting, or you have put yourself in a position where you know that maybe it's here to come, right? That it's a future thing. But you're doing everything you can to take your armor off and become maybe more transparent or more again, having more integrity about you, knowing who you are, and the one that you keep focusing on, the one that is here, not the one you saw in the past here. That's what I feel like I have here for you. Can we get another card on this one, please? Because this precognition thing is the reason for all of this. Like, if you didn't have this vision at some point about someone, it wouldn't be that of such a priority to you. So I get this card, the 10 of water, the big Buddha here, and it was reversed. So when you look at this guy, right, he looks, I want to say he looks beautiful. He's laughing. He's happy. He sits here in the midst of the waterfall. 10 of water would be like, this is the one you love the most. Like, this is your greatest love. The 10 of water is like fulfillment of cups, right? This is the one that fills up your cup. The one that is like your best friend, you're the greatest partner. And I do feel like they are so, like the horse kind of leans their head into hers. It's like they're so tuned, like choosing each other so much here. Where over here the horse looks the other way. These looks like best friends to me, like really great, beautiful dance partners in some way here. And when we look at him, he looks very happy and very fun and relaxed, and 10 of water is like that feeling of the, like all cups are filled, blessed, totally blessed and blissful and happy, and everything you want. It's an emotional fulfillment, a completion here. Someone is a completion to your heart, to your emotions. It came out reversed, and it's interesting because again it feels to me like not wanting to accept that someone is gone out of your life. It's like they are there but not there, you know. It's reversed, meaning that it's like they are there but not there, right? It's like a again like this, it's this idea that but this you and I, we are supposed to, but you look the other way. It's like this guy doesn't know, right? He doesn't know that you are his greatest love. Like he forgotten, like he can't see it. Yeah, it's like they can't see you. You know here, you know, but they seem like you know this about you and them, but it's like they don't, like they are, it's cut off. It's like they don't see it. Because they haven't had this, like they haven't seen this. They don't have the same vision as you do. This future vision. They haven't seen it. So they don't have access to like this knowledge here. They don't know it. You know it. You know it as it feels like a memory from the past, that you have history with them. And the only reason why you know this is because of this. They have not this. They don't have this. They're different than you. They don't have this, so they don't have that feeling of a history between you. They don't have that. That's why this is reversed, right? It's like you're dealing with someone who, like, they are your greatest love here. And you are theirs, right? But it's like they can't remember, or they don't know it. They don't see you, like they don't have this vision like you do. But again, because it feels like a memory, like you've had some kind of story, you have former lifetimes with them. That could be what you feel like. But they don't. Like they don't recognize this because it's to come. But if you somehow have an ability to, if you somehow have an ability to use quantum time frame, you can see something here that others can't see. You can see something that others can't see. So you hold on to a potential of something, even though, like, from a reasonable, logical perspective, you should just let it be. But it's like you can't, it's like, I've said before on my channel, it's like when you know something, it's like it can be difficult to not know it. Like like before you had this vision, you didn't know, right? You probably wouldn't have approached something here or someone because you didn't know. You didn't know that there was this potential, right? You didn't know this. It was not there. You wouldn't have walked here. You wouldn't have engaged with something here. You wouldn't have had this experience. But because you have this, it feels like a memory, but it's not a memory. It's in the future. But you're the only one seeing it. They don't come towards you with these happy, beautiful feelings. They say no to you. This is highly confusing. You have engaged, you approached them, you engaged with them. It was terrible, I feel like. You did do something together, but it was never like, it's not like this. And now you're choosing to be alone, I feel like, but you have this in your mind's eye. You still remember this, right? You still remember this. But again, you can manifest from this point, right? You can manifest someone. You can hold this vision here in your eye, in your mind's eye here. If we see this as an eye, and you can manifest from that point while you are while you disarmor yourself here. Because the armor here can be the problem, right? If you show up as a knight in a shining armor, they can't see you. There is no way they could recognize you. Like, you have to show up like this. Then perhaps they will recognize you, right? But if you are not showing up like that, it comes across like this. It's not a cooperation. Well, maybe it is, but it's not willingly, you know. It's not a willingly, a willing or a true cooperation here. The quest you're on is not, it's not the same. I hope it makes sense for someone out there, because I get it, why this could be crazy making. And why it's like you see them, but you don't see them. Like you only see them, some of this, you only see a bit by bit by bit. It's dimmed. That's why you have armor on here. That's why you don't trust each other. It's not there. Like, you know something, but they don't. This is very strong and clear, as I said, for you. There is no dim. There's no filter here. She is very clear. You can see details here also. It's not dimmed. It's not. But here it is. It's like it's fuzzy. Like you. It's not the. It's like walking in. Yeah, it's like you don't see eye to eye. You don't see each other in the way that you remember here. Because it's supposed to be in the future, but you don't know that. Like, it feels like a memory to you, a strong one, and it kind of overrides everything, because 10 of water is, I want to say, the biggest love of your life. Like, this is the ultimate one. Like, this is the one, right? But it's reversed, and it's because it's not. It's there, but not. It's there, but not there. Like, you remember this so clearly, as like this stands so clear to you, but it's not what you see, right? Not what you see. Well, so this is, of course, well, if we look at this card here, the Buddha here, what we know about the Buddha is, like, look at him, right? He is happy, but we also know the Buddha is known to be someone who sits. They sit in meditation, they are more passive perhaps, they can be inactive. He is a bit chubby here, right? Not to say that there's anything wrong with that, it's just, that's what we know about the Buddha, right? We know it's someone who is keen on life, maybe, you know, maybe they like to be at home, maybe they like to just sit. He looks a bit to me sometimes, well, I don't know, like a big baby, you know. but he's happy. He sits there with this chubby stomach here, and he is kind and friendly and everything. But we know about the Buddha that he sits a lot, right? He is a meditative person. He is a I'm sorry. He's a person that, well, maybe he likes good food, but he can be a bit inactive. He can be a bit inactive. He can be, I'm sorry. It says here it's about serenity, peace, good fortune, and well-being. All is well with the world and with me. Well-being is my natural state. Everything I need comes to me easily and effortlessly. I feel joy and express it to others, and I look around and see all the love that we share. I take pleasure in all I have accomplished. Whatever attention I receive or don't receive, I am serene, and I know full well what it took for me to get where I am. I celebrate myself and all who traveled the road with me and feel grateful to Spirit for being my companion always. I feel like it says a lot of I. I feel joy. I look around and see all the love that is there. I take pleasure in all I have accomplished, but actually I feel more like a we. Right? I can be happy because we have accomplished something we share, something we do, the quest we take together, the quest I share with Spirit. So I celebrate myself, but I also celebrate us, right? For all what we have traveled, all roads we have traveled, and for being my companion, right? Again, traveling is more fun if we are doing it with someone than doing it a lot alone, because when we talk about the journey together, it's, well, our companion becomes the mirror, right? We can share this and laugh about things together because we have experienced this together. We have a memory of this together. We have photos of this together. But if you want to tell the same story to a stranger, they will not understand it. They will not see it the same way. They will not remember. They will not, they will not laugh. They will not sit here and remember the stories we have gone through. They will not know, right? So being with someone who has been there all along with you, who has traveled with you, who have seen the same things as you. Here it feels a little bit like someone doesn't want to, like they don't want to travel with you. They don't want to. You go into the sweat lodge here, but it's like you do it alone, right? Or you don't do it with them, or they're not coming along, or they are the sweat lodge. So they bring forth a lot of, well, what we know about the sweat lodge is that it's dark, it's very hot in there. Sometimes difficult things are processed in there. Difficult feelings. You have to be able to endure the heat in there, endure the heat and the dryness and the sweat when you sit there with other people. Perhaps it's like you are, and it's maybe easier to do this with someone who cooperates with you instead of someone who looks the other way, who doesn't want to participate, who is inactive, or is like a baby, as I said, or acts inappropriately, or acts immature, or is, as I said, maybe they are not, they are disabled in some way. So they can only sit here. They can only sit. They can only, it's like that. And it could be the feeling that that you're dragging along some kind of potential for something. When you have a baby, the baby is a potential of being a very responsible and active human being. But as long as they are a baby, they haven't matured into that state yet. They haven't learned yet. They can't even walk yet. They are still they still sit there. So it could be the feeling that you love them, but they are like a baby. You love them, but they act like a baby. And for some reason, it's like that me and him, or me and you, we are supposed to do something together. I've seen it in my mind's eye that we are going to travel together. We are going to find this together. We have purpose together. Why don't you see that? Why don't you see it, right? But it feels like they're not seeing it. Like at the current time, they're not seeing it. And again, future vision can be a bit difficult to handle, because when is that exactly? When is that exactly? Can they ever get out of this state of being a big baby, perhaps? You may love them, and again, they are your companion, and you're taking them with you. Like there is a potential for something, I feel like. But is it ever is it ever going to wake up? Is it ever going to mature? Is it ever going to be better? Is it ever going to see me? Am I the only one who sees this, right? Because if I'm the only one investing. The other one doesn't seem like they're investing. I just know that this is my one, this is my person, I know it. So I drag it along, but it's if I'm the only one who sees that this other doesn't see it, like it's not ready, when will it go? When will it be ready? Will it ever become ready? Am I going to be 80 before this one sees a value, ever sees this? Am I going to use my entire life dragging along some kind of potential to realize that when I'm 80, they still haven't figured it out? Maybe this is in a different lifetime. Maybe it's 500 years from now. Future is future, right? Or whatever. Maybe you see glimpses of it. Like maybe you see small glimpses, but then it disappears again. In the quantum field, past, present, and future can be present at the same time. So you could have no knowledge, understanding, and recognition, togetherness, and separateness at the same time. If you are able to tap into quantum mechanics time frame understanding, you could have a vision that tells you all of this at the same time. That is crazy making for a human, right? It doesn't make sense to us. So can I have a card on the wind here? I get Page of Swords. Again, I get a page, like a young energy, a child. Maybe a child. A page is like a young, a child, a youngster, maybe a teenager, but not older than that. I want to say it's and then it also tells us something about immaturity. It tells us something about, it's almost like the time or the mind is not ripe. It's not ripe yet. It hasn't understood. It hasn't seen. It has no vision like you do, like you have here. It doesn't have the same vision like you. You could be dealing with a child. When I look at this card, I always see how his face is, on one side it is lit up, and on the other you can see the shadow. And this tells me again this feeling of like love, or love-hate, or for a moment it's there, but then I lose it again, right? For a moment it's there, but then it's gone again. That's why this is so dimmed here. It's on off, it's unclear, it hasn't chosen you fully. It's not it's like a fog, being in a fog, a brain fog here. Feeling confused, feeling maybe even lied to, like, what is this? Is it one big lie? Why does this feel so strong for me? And then I experience this. Why does it feel so treacherous? Yeah, like is it one big lie? Am I lying to myself? I see bits and pieces of it. I see some that I love and adore here, and then I see something maybe not hate, but something that doesn't make sense. It's like I only have half of them. It's maybe also why we have this card. Like I have only half of them. Like it's only a half situation. It feels that something is missing, that we are too armored here. We don't have the same energy as here. It's not the same. It feels like you're dealing with something that is immaturely not well. Entering the sweat lodge here can mean that you were prepared to go in and figure out what this was about, your story together. Like you had precognition of something here. That's why you went into the sweat lodge, to figure something out. But someone is flying away up here. They didn't go there with you. They chose to stay out here. You went in there. And in the sweat lodge, yes, it can be a place where you can, process all traumas, you can process all things that potentially could, heal you, but also tell you something, or like tell you about the sweat lodge. I feel like it's a purification place. It's a place where we want to purify and let the fire heal us and cleanse us and burn away everything that is not supposed to be there. But still dealing with each other was, well, you may have, been together in some way. You may have tried to pursue them, you may have tried to deal with them, but it never really Knight of Cups can be someone who is on a quest of love, like they like a chariot, they want to bring forth their cup and they would like it to be reciprocated, right? So again, this could be the feeling that we have a quest together, a love quest together. We should be a couple here that is riding towards the future and telling humanity about love here, right? But it just comes across as it doesn't feel right to me, this card, somehow. And I also think that's why we have this card then as a current or a more present experience. It's because it's like it doesn't feel adequate. It's like something is missing that makes this feel more right. And what is missing is the future aspect. What you saw in the future was this, but it's not what is there. Again, you went into the sweat lodge, but they didn't go there with you. Only you did that. They didn't. So when you are dealing with each other, it will come across as I get like a semi version. Like it's not the real deal. But I feel like for some reason it's like this is in the center, so this is an important card. It's like you feel like you have been in this sense of maybe a brain fog because of your loyalty to something or devotion to something that feels like a drag, that you're dragging it with you, and you put in your vitamin shot to it, but it's like it doesn't unfold. It doesn't seem like it's not reciprocating, or it's not becoming more active. It's like you're watering a plant, but it doesn't seem to want to grow, right? It's like it's not seeing you. It doesn't have the same vision. It's not invested. So how long should you wait? How long should you drag this along? Is it going to be, it's almost like it's only because of this. Like because you had that vision. Because you had this feeling of the Ten of Cups. But it's highlighted with a moon in the background, and it tells me that the moon is more, well, it can be a secret. It can be something that is a bit repressed or denied, or something that is shadowy in some way, or maybe not legal. It is maybe, I wouldn't say criminal, it is offensive maybe, or I don't see them as offensive, right? But you know, this can be anything. What this can just indicate that say you, the one here for you is let's say it's someone with the same sex, and you come from an environment where that is not a thing. We have to be this like man and woman, or and you have been prepared to go through the sweat lodge of disarmoring yourself from, you know, prejudice or something, but they didn't. Like, they didn't do that. Let's say you fell in love with a cousin or even a brother, right? And like, those relationships are not seen as good relationships, right? Well, depending on your culture, I believe in India you can be married to your first cousin, but there are other places where this is not at all favored, because the offspring or the children that come can be handicapped, right? And maybe again you may have dealt with like the problems of this, like you may have dealt with the prejudice, you may have faced the fears, you may have faced the prejudice, you may have faced the you were prepared to go along with this. You knew the risk of, if you had children together, there would be a bigger chance of, but it doesn't matter, like, you love them, right? But you would be prepared to do that. But then it just seems like they are not. And this makes you feel like confused, right? Because this feels so strong for you, right? So you don't understand why they are not. Why do they keep like not wanting to face something here, or look at me? Why are they not choosing to face their sweat lodge? Why are they not like approaching me or contacting me or trying to like reach out or something? It's because they don't know. They haven't had the same vision as you. They don't see things the same way as you. They don't remember, I want to say, anything particular about you. You don't stand out to them. They stand out to you, but you are not standing out to them. The problem is that you feel all of this. Like, you feel 10 of cups with them. You feel purpose with them. You feel attunement. You feel vision quest. You feel all of this with them. Like, you're supposed to work together, do something together. You are perfectly attuned. You have all this, like, you are partners. That's what it feels like to you. But it seems like it doesn't feel that to them. They were not prepared to go into the sweat lodge here. They were not prepared to face any charges or discrimination, or they were not ready to do that. You were. And it's because you've seen this, but they haven't. Like, there is not the same strong feeling with them than you have, as you have. And again, this Knight of Cups, if this is you, I want to say you could do whatever you want. You can run the longest marathon, they don't care. You can give them the gifts, you can win all like you can take away a lot of problems for them. But they still don't commit. They still don't commit. Because they haven't gotten to that point yet. That future where they see you here is not here yet. You're the only one seeing it. And you're relying on a future vision here so strongly that it determines your future here, or it determines your choices. So you rely on your vision, your future vision here. And this future or this situation you have seen with them here, you rely on that so much that it determines your choices in the current. And you may be dragging something along, that is not investing in you because it doesn't know. It hasn't seen the same as you. So you were wondering here if you should just focus on cleansing yourself, maybe de-armor yourself, and then you have this vision in your mind's eye here. I see this sometimes like it looks like an eye right here. And then this becomes your target or your compass or your goal, that they now, like they can be this target that you have this, because this vision was so strong that now this becomes like you can't forget it. It's the one, it's the thing, it's the person and the thing that you aim for. And you would rather, I think, like it feels like you would rather be alone here and have this in your mind's eye than struggle with something else here with a lot of armor on, and it just doesn't feel right. And again, if you are dealing with them, like if you have something to do with them in some way, it's not the same as this. This feels more I feel like it's not as smooth, I want to say. It's not as smooth and it's not as connected. It's not as connected. I get the Queen of Water here for the Knight of Cups. Again, we have 2 water cards here. Again, you can be a very beautiful queen here of water, trying to move forward. It's just there's only one here. And she is even closing her eyes, so it almost feels like it's just a dream, right? That she's dreaming or fantasizing or something about maybe trying to manifest them. You two here being on quests together to conquer the world, but I still have this feeling that there's armor on, the horse is even covered. I also see like he is pulling some reins here. And that's not what I feel like this is. This feels, when I look at them, it's like there are no reins here. It's not that she's riding the horse, she rides with the horse. Like they are on a journey together here. It's not like she's controlling it or steering it, or it's a fine attunement. It's a perfect balance of some kind. Where this feels more like, well, when I think about knights and horses, I usually think that the riders are the one that directs the horse to the battle or away from the battle, or into the quest in some way. And the horse has to apply and just follow the orders of the knight. But that's not what this feels like. This feels like a union, a partnership. There are no reins here. They're very white. All of it is very white. It's light. It's unified. Of course, this could be her dreaming of that her partner would come towards her and seek her out. Yeah, I get something about a hope, right? A hope that you could somehow be together. Again, these are drivers, so it's past position, right? Past here. And maybe you were, like maybe you were. But again, I get this feeling that only one of you faced the music, like only one of you were willing to or it seems like one of you were willing to go through something, go through some kind of change, so that you could be together. But again, the way you were together is not like this. Again, it feels like now I get a reference to like let's say, for instance, if you met this person and both of you come from very different religious backgrounds, so in order for you to be together and maybe even be married, one of you should change your religion from maybe, let's say, being very Jewish, like being Jewish and very committed to Jewish practices, to give that all up and then become maybe, like a Buddhist here, so you give up a big thing in your life. That's what I feel like the sweat lodge is here, that it's like giving up something that is maybe like a big thing, where someone here seems like they are not like giving up anything here. They're just flying over the sweat lodge, waiting for you to come out again, right? So it's like you go in, you do something there, you let go of something or heal or burn something away, and then you come out and you can be together here. But it's not, maybe easy, right? I got a reference also to a film I saw. It was about it was some kind of princess who should marry, like I guess Louis from the French court. Was it Marie Antoinette? She was not French. I believe she was from some other country. And like they literally made a tent for her at the border between the land she came from. So that could be perhaps France, where it could be maybe Switzerland or Holland or something, right? They literally made a tent on the border. So she went in from, let's say, the Swiss side, and she was undressing all the Swiss stuff, you could say. It was removed. Her dogs were removed. Her best friends were to stay there. They couldn't come with her. She went through a process where her hairstyle was changed, her wardrobe. She got like this French clothes on now, French shoes, and then when she got out on the other side, like her parents couldn't follow, her friends couldn't follow, her dogs couldn't follow. Some of her dearest things could not come along. So it's like this transformation, but she goes in as being one kind of Marie, and then she comes out as Marie Antoinette. Going through this here, changing something about her so that she could become adaptable to this Louis prince, right? Otherwise, she couldn't stay at the castle in Versailles, right? She wouldn't be right for that. She wouldn't be able to fit in. So it seems like someone has been willing to go through something here where someone didn't. Someone was just waiting for her to finish here. They may have gotten married or may have gotten together, but I feel like it was not that easy. She was a queen of water. The sweat lodge could talk about becoming more watery. The queen of water can be a mother here. So becoming more watery instead of fiery. You are a fire sign, Sagittarius, right? So maybe becoming more watery, laying down some of the fire to become more of a motherly figure here, and an empathic, motherly, watery figure. But that actually, again, it's a Cups card here, moving forward as a watery person, but that is maybe difficult for a fire sign, right? It's I just feel like someone went through something here, And it definitely changed you in some way here. But it also confused you, I think. Like this is in the current position, these are drivers, this is in the past or so-called past. So this is what may currently be what you feel like you're confused. You know, again, this feeling of being changed in some way, like you've walked into like this sweat lodge feeling and being changed by it. But this change, like maybe it's not, you know, maybe it's not all that good, right? That it's because in the sweat lodge you are confronted with exactly this. You're confronted with like a resentment, or you're confronted with something that doesn't want to work with you, it seems like, that looks the other way, or abandonment, or that could be what you have been doing in the sweat lodge, that you have confronted yourself with, why am I so rejected? What does that rejection makes me feel like, right? And maybe you, like, again, being rejected and trying to figure out why you are rejected. I want to say you're rejected because they don't know, not because there's something wrong with you. It's not because you've done something bad or wrong or something. They just don't know. I don't even think it's on purpose. They don't know. They don't have the same vision as you. They don't have the precognition. They don't see the future. They don't know. You haven't done anything wrong. That's also why they're not in the sweat lodge here, because they don't see that they've done anything wrong. They don't have the same vision. They don't see or feel the same things. For them, it is still in the future. For you, it's not. It may be in the future, but you feel it like a memory. Like you have past history with them. They don't. And that's maybe also why you're confused here, why you can't seem to find a truth that fits, why you can't seem to find any logic in it, why they are not in there with you, why they are not, doing the same thing as you, or why they are not, because they don't see it. So in this particular case, Sagittarius, the love-hate feeling may come with an ability you have to see something in the future. So this can be quite particular. Maybe it's not for all of you out there, right? This has to resonate on a very deep level. For those of you listening. But it makes sense, right? You saw something. Then you went into a healing process here. But you did it alone. They were not with you. You wanted to become fierce and open your heart and go towards them perhaps here. Being a very kind, considerate, empathic, beautiful queen here. But what you experienced is that they may not participate, I still get like it's not the same as this. You may have been like a good mother, you may have been, but I feel like both of you are somehow armored or not quite open, or it didn't work out in the way that it was supposed to, I think. It's a bit of a dream, perhaps. She has closed eyes. It's a fantasy. It's compassionate and it's empathic and like you have all those feelings here. But I just feel like it didn't work out in the same way. And that was in the past. Now you have a very strong vision about who they are or what it was that you saw, or something that you do have purpose and very, very beautiful attunement with something here. But it still makes you feel, again, you have been looking, I think. You have been looking, why are they rejecting me? Have I done something? Has there been past stories between us? Have we been, has there been any kind of struggle between us or something unhealed, But I simply want to say, I don't think so. It's just because they don't know. Like they don't see it like that. They haven't got the same vision as you. Your logic and reason and everything you believe in here, they don't see it. I really feel that. So I wanted a card on the star here, what that is about. And it says here I get King of Michael, which makes sense, also an air card here. I said this was Aquarius, right? So a King of Air can be Aquarius also. It says principled, rational, ambitious, and respected. It says wisdom and objectivity are important now. Stay in your integrity, a situation that calls for honest and open communication. Yeah. It seems like there is something here that really needs mature, rational, open communication. Perhaps you need to, again, King of Michael is about also respect, not being tossed around or used, or being in some kind of dilemma in this way. I feel like you want to make a good, rational, respectful decision here. But then there's this fuzzy thing that makes you feel like you have to drag it along somehow. And of course, you're not supposed to be punished for having psychic abilities here, right? That you have to drag something along and they're not participating because they don't see it. Like they don't see that you have this here together somewhere in the future. They don't know about that. You may know it, but they don't. And you feel like you're dragging something along that should by now start to take action. It should by now know. It should by now have matured enough. It should by now not be that passive. It should by now start to move. But it's not. because it doesn't know, it doesn't see it. It doesn't know and it doesn't see it. So this can be a person, of course, but it can also be, the book talked about spirit for the Buddha. The Buddha is a religious tradition that you could dive into. So whatever this is can be something you haven't, it hasn't been explored yet, or you're dragging something along, but you don't know how to actualize it, perhaps. How to actualize it. It's maybe there with you, but it's not there, or it's a struggle to handle it. I'm sorry, I'm a bit quiet. I'm just wondering if there's any more I feel like I can get from this. Can we have an advice card, please? Because I feel like this is still a confused state, or it's dimmed, it's not quite there. And again, I feel like it's like you are alone, that this other one you are dealing with is, again, they don't see it. I feel like they could be childish. It could be a child. They have a sword here, and it means that they're prepared to use it, but it could be in a childish way, or not very mature. And I think it's because they don't see the same as you. They don't know something here. It's like you know something they don't know. That they don't want to. And they're not investing. They're not investing as you would like them to invest. Can we have an advice card, please, on this? I get this card here that talks about, well, it's multiple possibilities. There are many doors to choose from here. There are many ways to go, perhaps, or there are many You know that there are many pitfalls along the way here, but there's only one door that seems like the most bright, shiny, fortunate one. Well, I felt a need to kind of, because these look alike here, to kind of shift it around and take a perspective from the other side. And I feel like that could be one of the things to realize here, that this is a young person perhaps who has potential. Maybe there are many doors that they have to open still to figure out which one to choose. Like if you were in their position, again, if you were in their position, if we turn the tables, if you were in their position and they didn't have this knowledge, what would you do then? Wouldn't you want to open the doors that you like to go towards? And only when you have opened them and figured out it wasn't right for you, maybe you would choose the one at the end. Because you could be here standing from this perspective, knowing there's only this door that is right. This is this one for me. But if you were in the opposite direction, if you were the other one, and you didn't know, you didn't have this precognition, how were you supposed to know then? You would have to open many doors and eventually maybe getting to this one. Sometimes we have to let them, especially if they are young here, like we have to let them try things, right? We have to let them open those doors. And when they get bruised or when they figure out this was not the right one for me, then eventually they may be choosing you, right? Eventually they get to learn that, okay, this is maybe the right one for me. But then you can also make sure that they actually choose you, right? Because they've tried something else. They have already figured out that this is not right for me. And you have known all along, right? You've known all along, but they didn't. You have faced whatever prejudice that could be, whatever fears, whatever danger, whatever. You have already faced this. You've already known. Because these look like, they look like they are very good match, but they are still two different species. So it tells me something about that there could be, that you are a beautiful match, but there could be something between you that is different, right? That, as I said, it could be religion, maybe it's skin color, maybe it is monetary monetary status. Like maybe one of you is quite rich and one of you is not, and this is about acceptance. It's about realizing that I go through the sweat lodge to get rid of whatever prejudice or criticism or judgment, and even my judgment and other people's judgment and all diversities and all this stuff. I get rid of all of this so that I can be with my love. Right? I dismantle my life so that it fits. I get rid of the roadblocks. I get rid of everything that is in the way. But if only one of you does that, it seems like the other one is not doing the preparation. Like they are inactive here. They are not making any preparations. They are not, because they have other doors here to open first, perhaps. Like we have to, I feel like there's something about if we're looking from the other perspective, as I said also, if someone has a disability, for instance, or is mentally sick or mentally ill, like they don't have the same options perhaps to make maybe they don't have the ability to go through the sweat lodge. Maybe they don't have the ability to release everything or make sure that the roadblocks are gone. Maybe they are young, like they are still dependent on certain things. Maybe they are not mature to make a decision like that. Maybe they're not even in charge. Like maybe they can't even make a decision like that. Again, this journey could talk about maybe the reason why they are depicted differently is a big age difference. Like maybe there's a big age difference. And one of you have already dealt with this. Like one of you have already dealt with the judgments that could come if you were dating someone 20 years younger than yourself or something like that, but they haven't. Like they are still up here or flying above it. They don't want to look at it, they are not interested in that. They are still resisting or saying no, or they haven't. Again, maybe they have to go out there and have other relationships before they realize this is the right one for me. Right? They may not be ready. Like if we look from someone else's perspective and they don't have this vision, it makes sense. Why should they choose a partner who is maybe 10, 15 years older than them or younger than them if they don't see the potential in it? There is no heart calling. They have no memory. There's nothing calling them there. You see, that's what I feel like. Or it simply just feels wrong. Like I shouldn't be dating someone 20 years younger than me. He's a kid. He's 13 years old. Why should I? That is not right, That is not right. I can't date someone like that if I'm 30 years old and he's 13, right? That's not right, I don't know what this is. I'm just saying that there's something about something between you that is so right here. Like it's so right. And you have, I feel like, a quest or purpose together. But they are young, perhaps. They are immature. Their ways are immature or unreliable. It's like you don't see them take action. You may feel like you're dragging them along with you. Will they ever own up to it? Will they ever see? Will they ever experience what I know here? Will they ever see that? Or am I the only one knowing this? When will they see? When will they become my companion? When will they choose me, right? And I'm not sure you can do much more than you have already done. Like I just think that they don't know. Like they don't see it. They have no vision of this. They have no knowledge. They have no future psychic understanding of this. But you know, you could be impatient, right? Because you have the idea that you have purpose together, or you have some kind of quest you're supposed to figure out together here. But they just seem like they're not participating. So you are doing your stuff here. On your side, on your side, you're doing your stuff, while they may be opening other doors here, you know. But and that's the only thing you can do, because future is future. I don't know when. I don't know how. Can we get an indication of that? Is this even in this lifetime? So I get messenger of air here. Well, an angel is a messenger. The translation of angel is messenger, whether it's a good or bad message. But I feel like you should trust your intuition on this. You should trust this. Again, I feel like it's like this could be them, right? In the future here. Like you had this future vision of them. You should trust that it is there. Like you should trust that they have this, right? That they do have this. But when it's coming, I hear it's in the air. It's in the air. So it would be in the air around you. Like you will know, like as long as they reject you, it's not clear. Here they are clear. You can see them clearly here. Here they are not clear. So you should trust your brain. I feel like if you feel foggy, like a foggy sense with them, or you can get like clear messages from them, they're not ready. They haven't figured it out. They don't see it. They are still opening doors here. When this becomes clearer for you also, I think then they may have come to the conclusion, right? They may have tried different doors, and now there's maybe only a few left, and you are one of them. It's like when the message, when your thoughts are clear. When your thoughts are clear, you could talk to them. But not before, like as long as this is very uncertain and like your thoughts have to become very clear. just as clear as this. Like it has to be. You should have a feeling that there is no. Like when the message from them becomes so clear to you. But as long as it's not, as long as your intuition is telling you, or your feelings are telling you, this is, they look the other way here. You should trust your intuition. Like your intuition and your magic psychic abilities here should tell you. This should be crystal clear. Otherwise, Otherwise, I just feel like they're not ready, right? Otherwise, they will not know. They won't understand. Your commitment to a cause, maybe it's confusing them, right? Your commitment to them may be confusing them because they don't get it, right? They don't understand. Well, if it's your child, of course, it's not the same. But if if this is a random boy, in the neighborhood, like they may not understand why you keep knocking on their door, why you keep showing up. And it's just like that you can't not show up. It's it's like you can't not show up because they are this potential for you. Another advice card here, I get 8 of Cups. 8 of Cups tells me something about that you could walk away. Like you could walk away from something. As I said in the beginning, you could give it up. There would be nothing that actually like indicates that walking away from this, there would be nothing in this current world that would say that would be a wrong thing to do. Like you are not morally or in any other way, you can't be criticized for walking away. Like there's no logical, or you have all reason to walk away. But then you look at the moon here, right? Then you look at the moon, and there's this, like this dark cloud in the middle. And then there's this, whether this is the right thing to do to give up this. The moon can be, a secret. That you admire someone or you love someone in secret. That this is your biggest crush, right? But you can't tell them. Or you can't be real about it. It's like, it's just something So you could have this, that every time you try to maybe walk away, you look at the moon and then you remember them, right? And then there's this dark cloud that kind of maybe is this feeling of bad conscience. You should still stay. But as long as I feel like, again, as long as the communication or the maybe telepathy here, as long as maybe communication or telepathy or your mind is messy here or is foggy, you shouldn't. You should rely on this, that it has to feel clear, it has to feel right, it has to feel honest, it has to feel pure also, I get. As long as you are armored, as long as you feel like it's messy, as long as it doesn't show up as a clear message, as they will still be opening doors, like they will still explore their life, right? And they should, I think they should, because if they are not in the same position as you, they have to, right? They have to try different options. But for you, it may just feel like they're wasting their time. Why aren't they showing up? Why don't they come forward, right? Things like that. So this is, I feel like it's probably rather specific. Like either you do have this feeling or you don't. And that is maybe also why this is a love-hate thing. That you may have precognition abilities, so you may know something about the future. And you would want them to trust you on that. You would want them to trust you about what you know. But it seems like they don't. They're not choosing to trust you. They're not choosing to. They go somewhere else. And you may seem like, why don't they just... Because I know we are supposed to... We will be good together here, right? But again, it says shamanic journey. Shamanic is also, it's not the same as a business life. And again, you may have, you may have already dealt with this. You may have dealt with the fears of leaving a corporate life or a corporate work life. You may have dealt with, working with the moon, working with the energies, and working with psychic abilities. You may have already dealt with that, but they haven't. They haven't. They may still be in a normal 9-to-5 job. They may still be in a career. They may still be, even in a marriage. They may still be occupied there. They may still be somewhere else. And you have done all the groundwork here, but they haven't. They didn't come along with you. And you may feel like you drag this hope with you that they eventually will. But I can guarantee you that it will be in this lifetime. I don't know. What I get here is something about, it has to be clear. Like your intuition has to be clear. That you feel like the fog is gone. Because the fog can indicate that if you have telepathy with them, that the message is not clear here. It has to be clear. And of course you can walk away, but then there's this shadow here that seems to maybe stop you. And you can have a look at that. This is an advice card, so if you are wondering if you should walk away from this, you have a look at this. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm also not saying that you should. The advice card is to have a look at this. If there is a shadow here that has to do with this moon, this secret of yours, or this hope you may have a look at what that secret is. Why is it that you stay? If you stay here and you're not walking away, why is it that you're staying? If you choose to walk away, just know that you have to deal with whatever this is, this shadow this dark shadow here. If you choose to walk away, you also give up on something. You give up on something here. And I don't know, maybe it's a good thing. Like maybe, well, just be clear. Like just be very clear on this. Like have a very clear mind. If you choose to walk away, have a clear mind. If you choose to stay, have a clear mind. If you choose to be invested or even talk here, messenger of air, right? If you choose to communicate, be very clear. That's also what it says here with the king here, right? Wisdom and objectivity are important now. Stay in your integrity. A situation that calls for honest and open communication. So if you decide to have communication, be very decisive and very clear. Be very open, but keep your integrity up, right? If you are torn, like if you feel torn and confused, that's not the time to communicate. If you want to walk away here, make sure that you are not influenced by dark shadows, right? Clear your mind. These are advice cards. That's what I feel like. Clear your mind. Like again, this is air energy. It's not heart. Because if you ask your heart can always come up with something that can confuse you. So become very clear on what it is that you truly want and expect. And again, this can talk about integrity and autonomy and authenticity and boundaries also here, right? That you can become very clear on how you want this to work. And as long as you don't have a clear mind about what to do, I think you should, if you decide to walk away, just know that don't hold a grudge here, I feel like. Don't hold a grudge. It's simply because they don't know, or they are immature, or they don't have the ability to make a decision. They are not as advised, or maybe they don't have the same wisdom. They are not as they don't sit with the same like knowledge here as you do. And therefore, if you judge them also, just know that you're judging them maybe because you expect them to know the same as you, to see the same as you, but they don't. Because you know something, you could make a clear-cut decision and move on. But then again, because you know that they don't know, that is the reason why you may drag them along. So it all comes down to this. Because of this, there are things that you are doing in your life, there are things you are allowing in your life perhaps, there are things you are even feeding or taking care of in your life because of the potential of something. And that can be a love-hate thing. That because you have this, some of this. This is what I have for you, Sagittarius. I hope this helped in some way. I feel like it's rather specific, so either this is something you recognize or you don't. Especially with this, right? Or this confusion that could come along with these two, I want to say timelines. That could be like a timeline confusion. Maybe because you're not even aware that this is what is happening for you. So this is what I have. I hope this helped somehow, Sagittarius. As I said, please take care of yourself out there. This feels very confusing, actually. But I think that maybe what I told you here could maybe help you understand that this is what you have experienced. And I think it's very particular. It's with a very particular person or a very particular thing in your life. And again, either you will recognize this or you don't, right? This is what I have for you. I hope this helped. Take care of yourself out there. Love and light to you. Bye-bye.